Have you ever felt like you have to choose between getting good grades and actually having a life? Well, what if I told you that's a false choice? Today, we're cracking open Cal Newport's incredible 2006 guide, How to Become a Straight A Student, to show you how the top students get amazing grades without living in the library. So let me ask you this. Does this sound like you? You're putting in the hours, you're pulling all-nighters, you feel like you're grinding away constantly, but when you get your grades back, they just don't reflect all that insane effort. It is so frustrating, and you are definitely not alone. But here's the thing. There is another way. Newport's book is filled with stories from real students like Anna here, who totally cracked the code. You see, her friends saw someone who was never stressed, never in the library, and just acing everything. She wasn't a grinder, she was a strategist. And that right there is the big secret. This is the core idea of the entire book. Success in school isn't a competition of who can suffer the most. It's all about the quality of your work, not the quantity of your hours. It's about technique. So just real quick, here's the rundown on the book itself. What makes this guide so powerful is that Cal Newport didn't just dream this stuff up. He went out and interviewed actual top-tier students from places like Harvard and Princeton to figure out what they were really doing. All right, first things first, we have to identify the main villain of our story. It's this thing Newport calls the pseudo-work trap, and honestly, it's the biggest reason most students struggle. You know exactly what this feels like. It's when you're studying with your textbook open, but you've also got your phone buzzing, a YouTube video playing in another tab, and you're half listening to your roommate. You spend like 4 hours studying, but maybe get 30 minutes of real work done. It's the illusion of being productive, and it just leads to exhaustion and mediocre results. So how do we escape this trap? Well, it's not about trying harder. It's about a total shift in your mindset based on a super simple, almost mathematical law of productivity. Here it is. This is the golden rule. Work accomplished equals time spent multiplied by intensity of focus. Now, most of us only ever think about that first part. We just try to throw more time at a problem. But the real magic, the variable that straight A students master, is the second one, intensity of focus. And this chart just lays it all out perfectly. On the left, you've got the pseudo-worker. Their focus is low, so they need a ton of time to get anything done, which just leads to burnout. But look at the straight A student on the right. They flip the script. They jack up their intensity for short periods, which means they need way less time. The result? Better grades and more free time. It's a total game changer. Okay, the theory is great, but how do we actually do this? Let's dive into the good stuff, the practical step-by-step strategies from the book. We're going to look at 5 techniques that you can start using today. And strategy number 1 starts with what Doris from Harvard calls a critical skill. But when I say time management, I know what you're thinking. A crazy color-coded schedule planned down to the second. Don't worry, it's nothing like that. It's way, way simpler. This is it. Newport's system literally takes 5 minutes a day. You just keep a running list of new tasks that pop into your head. Then every morning, you take 5 minutes to move those tasks onto your calendar, blocking out realistic chunks of time to get them done. That's it. It stops you from kidding yourself about how much free time you have. All right, strategy number 2. Let's talk about the monster under every student's bed: procrastination. As Christine from Harvard says, you can't just wish it away. It's inevitable. The trick isn't to find more willpower. It's to make procrastination less powerful. So instead of just relying on sheer force of will, you use clever tactics. For one, keep a work journal. Just the thought of having to write down, "I watched cat videos for 3 hours," is a surprisingly good motivator. 2, feed the machine. Your brain needs good fuel to work. And 3, my personal favorite, for those tasks you absolutely dread, make an event out of it. Take it to a cool coffee shop. The change of scenery works wonders. Strategy 3 is all about when you choose to work. And I think Lydia's quote says it all. Go big or go home. The idea is to create a very clear line between work time and playtime. And to do that, you gotta work when your brain is actually switched on. Look at this comparison. Most students put off work until the evening, right when their energy is at its lowest and social distractions are at their highest. Top students do the complete opposite. They find those little pockets of time during the day, between classes, for example, when their energy is high. This gets their work done and leaves their evenings completely free. So what about how long you should study in one sitting? You'd think that pushing through for hours on end is the most productive way, right? Well, according to students like Laura from Dartmouth, you'd be wrong. Your brain just isn't built for that.
The secret is to work in focused sprints. Aim for about 1 hour of intense, 100% distraction-free work. Phone away, notifications off. Then, and this is crucial, take a real 5 to 10 minute break. Get up, walk around, do something totally different. This simple rhythm keeps your mind fresh and helps you retain so much more.
And for our final strategy, let's talk about taking notes. As Jeremy from Dartmouth points out, a professor says a lot of stuff in a lecture. The real skill isn't transcribing every single word. It's knowing what's actually important. Newport found that top students use 2 totally different systems. For non-technical classes like history or English, you focus on the big ideas. You listen for a main question, the evidence to support it, and the final conclusion. But for technical classes like math or physics, you do the opposite. You ignore the big ideas and focus obsessively on capturing every single step of every sample problem. Those problems are pure gold when you're studying for the exam.
Phew. Okay, we've covered the core of how to become a straight A student. So what's the bottom line? Is this book worth your time, especially when you're already so busy?
Let's boil it all down. The number one lesson is that a better technique will always beat more effort. The biggest pro of this book is that it's not just theory. It's packed with super practical strategies from real students. The only con? Well, it's not magic. You do need the self-discipline to actually build these techniques into habits. For its crystal clear, incredibly effective, and honestly life-changing advice, we are giving How to Become a Straight A Student a very solid 9 out of 10. For any student who wants to get better grades and get their social life back, this is an absolute must-read. And if this really sparks something for you and you want to go even deeper, check these 2 out. Deep Work is also by Cal Newport, and it's basically the graduate-level course on the science of focus. And A Mind for Numbers is a fantastic guide on how to learn, especially if you struggle with math and science. And that's a wrap on our breakdown of how to become a straight A student. If you found these tips helpful, do us a favor and hit that follow and subscribe button for more explainers on game-changing books. Thanks for tuning in.